Hi everybody, and happy new year. Today we're going to start off the new year making some chocolate cinnamon roll. Now all of the ingredients are listed in the description box below, but we're going to start with the actual rolls. So what I have is some milk. Now this time I'm using an oat milk. Usually I'll use an almond milk. Doesn't really matter as long as it has a lot of fat in it. Flour, either all-purpose flour, or I do like to use my whole wheat pastry flour. Cocoa. This is regular cocoa. I guess you could use Dutch as well. Some sugar. You can use any kind of granulated sweetener. It could either be the erythritol, monk fruit, or just regular sugar. I like to mix them up a bit to cut down on the sugar. You are going to need some melted butter cooled to room temperature. Again, I use the vegan, actually I use the Smart Balance. I guess it's vegan, but it's just healthier for the heart. Some yogurt at room temperature as well. Some vanilla extract, and of course, yeast. What does that mean that we're using yeast? It means this is going to take a long time to make because we got to let this rise at least twice. Now, before I begin, I did take a bowl and I sprayed it very well with some vegetable oil, and I'm just going to sit that off to the side for a moment. I'm heating my milk up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't want it more or less than 110. You want it pretty much as close to that as you can. You can also use the microwave. I just find it easier to do this on the regular stovetop. And I do have my temperature set at about a medium low. Pour in the milk into a bowl. Now I'm going to take a tablespoon of flour and a tablespoon of sugar and whisk this together for a bit. Now just sprinkle some of that yeast on top. You don't have to really mix it in. And we're going to put this in a warm spot for about 10 minutes. Add the cocoa powder to the flour without making a mess, and then whisk that together. Cocoa powder is one of the messiest ingredients I've ever worked with. Once your yeast is activated, and you'll know it because it'll be nice and foamy, you're going to pour into a large bowl with the dough hook attachment. Now add in your melted butter, but cooled butter, the sugar, and the yogurt. Now I'm going to add in some vanilla extract. Quickly mix this together. Now add in that half of the flour. It's a lot of flour. I like to do it slowly with a spoon, not so as not to make a mess. Mix this on medium speed till it's combined. Then add in the rest of the flour. And then mix this just until it comes together. It should look a little bit shaggy. Lightly flour a nice good kneading surface, and we're going to take that dough, and for 2 to 4 minutes, we're going to get some kneading done. When your dough's nice and pliable, now you're going to put it in the greased bowl. Cover with the towel and let it rise for 1 hour. While I'm waiting for the dough to rise, I'm going to start making the filling. But before I do that, I pulled out one of my pans. You could use a casserole pan or a baking pan that has high up edges, and greased it real well. Now I'm going to heat up some more butter. So again, I'm using my vegan butter. It's already semi-melted. That's kind of why it's very liquidy. Then I'm going to add the sugar and the cinnamon. And just give this a mix and let it heat up. As this heats up, you can really smell the cinnamon coming through. And you want to keep mixing this until the sugar is dissolved. You can kind of feel it with the spoon. It's kind of crunchy on the bottom. Just keep stirring this. And then whisk in the chocolate cocoa powder. Put this off to the side to let it cool. Now as it cools, it's going to thicken even some more. Once your dough doubled, you're going to punch it down. Get some frustration out. Roll up those sleeves and just punch it. Just to knock some of that air out of it. I'm using some cocoa powder. You could use regular flour just to flour the surface. That way I won't have white specks in it from the white flour. Although cocoa powder is very messy. I think it's messier than white flour. But we're going to roll this out to 12-inch by 18-inch rectangle. So I have it to a rectangle, 12 by 18 inch. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now you'll notice your filling really thickened. This is good. This way it makes it easy to spread across. So I'm going to pour this in, and I'm going to spread this all the way across to the ends. Now we want to roll this up. So I have the long side facing me, and just using my mat just to start it a bit. Now, I like to make this somewhat of a tighter roll. Pushing those sides in. Okay. Now I'm going to push together these seams to try to hide them a little bit, fix up any imperfections. Now I want to cut this in 12 pieces, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to gauge the distance. So from here until about here, I'm going to cut it in half. Now I'm going to cut it in half again. You could eyeball it or you can measure it out. Now from here I'm going to get 3 pieces each. Look at the inside of this. That looks really good. Now we're going to do another proofing, but what we want to do first is place our rolls into this casserole dish, and then cover this with the towel and let it rise again for another 30 minutes. Bake these at a 350-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. The centers won't sink in when they're done. You'll just know it, it'll look done. I just took these out of the oven and look how much they spread, because when I put them in, it only filled half the pan. So you want to use a large pan, leave some extra room. These look great. But now, while I'm going to let them cool, I am going to make the chocolate drizzle. So I do want these to cool about 10 minutes. So put that off to the side. And now I'm going to heat up the butter. Remove the butter from the heat, and then add in some of your dark chocolate. And keep mixing this until it is melted and well combined. It'll be a nice thick ganache. Now you can drizzle this over your cinnamon buns. I like to cut them out separately and drizzle them over individually, but if you would like, you could just drizzle over all of them at once and serve. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you all next time.